Hi, my name is Courtney Terry, and I'm interested in a teaching position in the lmusd Unified School District. Currently, I am working at Oceano Elementary as a long-term substitute in kindergarten, but I did begin at the beginning of the school year. At the beginning of the school year, I taught only the afternoon class, while my colleague Christy Hall taught the morning class. After about 5 weeks, Christy went on maternity leave, and I took over the entire class. I also will be teaching the class throughout the end of the year. Prior to working at Oceano Elementary, I worked at Joe Nightingale Elementary in the Orchid Union School District. I worked as a Title I support teacher, primarily working with 6th grade students in intervention groups, but I also taught a 7-week science unit to a rotation of 4 6th grade classes. I also gained experience substituting in a severely handicapped day class as well as a resource class. I feel that I can personally relate to the district's core values through the way I teach and the ways I try to improve my teaching. My favorite inspirational quote about integrity that I teach to my students is stand up for what is right, even if you stand alone. I teach my students that honesty is the best policy, and I reward my students when I catch them making good choices or standing up for what is right. I feel that my positive reinforcement creates an environment in our classroom where students strive to be their best so they can be rewarded by me for their efforts. Teamwork. I collaborate with grade level partners, and I attend weekly TAP cluster meetings with K-1 teachers, resource teachers, special day class teachers, and PE teachers developing new learning strategies. I get along really well with my colleagues, I'm a good listener, and I enjoy contributing to the class as a team player. One of my goals in TAP is developing lessons for grouping. I want to develop lots of lessons for my students so that they're given the opportunity to work equally as a team and to understand that we need to work as a team sometimes to accomplish goals. I also feel that teamwork is very important with the parents of my class. If I can speak with the parents of my class and get some insight into the lives of my students at home, I can understand things better about them, possibly about their growth at school, or maybe even just their behavior and the contributing factors to that. Excellence and personal best. I'm a hard worker, I'm dedicated to my job, and I am always willing to put in the time it takes to make memorable and meaningful lessons for my students. I'm also very reflective. After my lessons, I think of who I might not have met in that lesson. How can I differentiate my lesson so that all my students' needs are met and that everybody has mastered the objective? Innovation. I'm very enthusiastic about the changes coming from the Common Core standards. I want my students to be analytical thinkers and problem solvers, and I feel the Common Core standards are a big step in that direction. I'm also very happy that I'm a part of the change with the TAP program and using the TAP rubric as a guide for this change. Resilience. My classroom is a diverse group of bright-eyed learners, all with their own strengths and weaknesses. It takes a long time for us to master a skill in kindergarten, but I tell them to keep practicing, and after a while, their practice and their time will pay off. My ideal school is one that is very diverse among students and teachers. Cultural respect is insisted upon, and rules and expectations are consistent and understood by everyone in the school. Also, teachers and staff would collaborate often. One particular lesson that I carefully planned that was not successful as I wanted it to be was when I used a lesson with grouping. I strategically placed the students so that each group had a high, a medium, and a low. I modeled in front of the students what I wanted them to do, and then I allowed the students to break into their groups. While walking around and monitoring, I noticed that some students were sitting back, not doing very much work, and others were participating much more and doing all of the work. I noticed that my group roles and responsibilities were not equal. This told me that I did not prepare my students well enough by letting them know what I was expecting for their group roles and their group responsibilities.